All right. Hello, 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 and hello. today we have a very special guest with us. Casa the Will. This is episode 20. Yeah, 20. And first we have reoccurring guest, Yaniv Abraham.
Well, I'm not special anymore.
You're reoccurring.
Oh, okay.
But you're very special.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially
because every time I'm on this podcast, it's always a special time. But
Jesus.
But don't. I mean, here we have another special guest today.
We have a very special guest.
Our special guest today is Jose Bernal.
Jose
Give
Bernal.
him a round of applause.
I've been on here before, but I wouldn't
He's,
consider myself special either.
Returning,
but it's been a long time.
It's been a good minute.
It's been a good minute.
And
maybe two.
And he has some stories to share with us. Because if you guys didn't know, Bernal was in a very traumatic accident.
It wasn't that bad.
He was never the same. He is mentally and physically different.
His life has changed, and
going
he
through
has
psychosis.
Psychosis.
He's currently under a hypnotic spell right now.
Oh wow.
He's metamorphosing.
His hair is moving as we speak.
Yeah, it's flowing. It's like Goku.
Yeah, the wind is currently 17 miles per hour in his house, and you can see his hair flying away. It's almost like Fabio.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bernal, for being here.
That's no problem. You guys came over to my place, so
Thank you for Bernal. For,
I couldn't really say no
us.
once you guys stepped through the door. So
I can't believe you actually were. You said that you were gonna waddle all the way to Williams.
I would have done it.
No,
I could do it. I have crutches, so it wouldn't be too difficult.
Have you done that? Like gone far in your crutches?
Not too far. Probably down the street, but that's about it.
If you go down the street, right
I have
now,
a wheelchair though, so I can do that.
Oh, you do. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But what's in the area that you could walk to? That's like
Liquor
interesting?
stores.
What?
Liquor stores?
It's like a liquor store.
Oh,
That's about it.
where is it? Like right, like that way, or it doesn't matter.
Like
It's in the area.
Yep.
You ever use cilantro?
Oh yeah.
What?
Did you get cilantro?
Cilantro.
Like right next to the gas station.
The gas station right there, the restaurant?
No, I've
Mexican?
never been there.
Dude,
Never been there?
That place is really
It's like right
good.
next to your house.
I know, but I don't really eat out.
Oh, that place is good.
Do you not eat out because you don't like to eat out, or do you not like to eat like food outside, or do you prefer eating at home?
I just make my own stuff.
Really? Well, what kind of stuff do you make?
Like salmon.
Salmon.
Yeah, I like to make salmon a lot.
Are you do you only like fish, or do you like eat anything?
I eat anything.
You
Sometimes I
pescatarian?
eat what is it called? Mushroom egg omelets that I make.
Ooh.
Some cheese and
Some ham.
yeah.
Some
But a
ham?
sausage.
Yeah.
But a steak.
Do you like meat in your omelets?
Tomato,
Yeah.
onions.
They actually make, but I mean, if you count the mushroom, that's protein in itself.
Alright, it's true.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are always weird because there's like plants, but not really plant.
They're fungus.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah.
love mushrooms.
Dude.
I used to hate mushrooms.
Have you ever seen if you ever see like a picture and then like you look inside of the mushroom, it's just roots. It's just roots inside, and like it feeds off of the ground like a flower. But like if you look inside, it just looks like veins, just like sucking everything from the ground and going into the mushroom. And that's why when you cut it and you like slice it open, it's like it looks like rings because it's all like it literally gets its nutrients from the ground. But I always find it cool, but nobody likes it. But it's one of our most important. What is it? It's not a.
It's a decomposer, right? Like it takes
decomposer.
out.
No, but like if we were to consider like mushrooms, are they vegetables?
No, they're like you said, they're a fungus, but they're
But
more
like-
protein based than
Yeah.
they are like cart or anything else.
Yeah, but they're really good. That's my point. They're
There's so
really,
many different types out
but
there.
nobody else likes them.
Yeah, for real. A lot of people like mushrooms.
No, I think a lot of people don't like olives.
You ever ask a kid, does he like mushrooms? I doubt any of them would ever.
it's
No.
not. I hated mushrooms. As a kid.
But like it's like one of those things like where you get the older you get, the more you're like you
Acquired
tolerate
taste.
things. Yeah.
All right, well.
Well, I like how I completely dodged that question of the whole accident thing and just
Oh,
brought
yeah.
up.
Talking about mushrooms and
Yeah.
omelets.
Yeah. No, it's okay. We're just trying.
Because I don't really. It's not really a big deal. I mean, I got into a motorcycle accident. I mean, it happens, but I kind of got. I wouldn't consider myself like I got lucky. Like I don't think it would have been as bad either way.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was early in the. Well, it happened because it was early in the morning, and I was at an intersection, and some guy was rushing, making that left turn, and he didn't notice me.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, he wasn't going too fast, so he just like threw me off my bike, and I kind of just broke my legs basically.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't like it is requiring a lot of work though. I would say I've already been through 6 surgeries so far, so it's not exactly easy, but it's not bad. I mean, I can walk with crutches now. It's like I'm healing. It's coming along.
And you said that you had one more surgery remaining.
Oh yeah,
And
that's because my left leg was
Mhm.
the side that took most of the brunt of the hit when I got in that accident, and it kind of tore open. It basically shattered a lot of the bones on my lower leg, and some of that bone was missing. So now they have to replace the bone cement that they put temporarily there with some bone graft. In terms of where the bone graft is going to be taken out from, I don't know if it's going to be from me. Most likely it's going to be from me, or it might be put there some other way. I'm not too sure exactly.
Wait, what exactly is a bone graft?
It's kind of like artificial bone.
Artificial bone. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Because I've heard of like bone spurs or like shin splints, but like
I don't think
know.
that would be a shin splint.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I believe that lower, it's where my lower leg meets with my foot itself.
Mhm.
The bone slightly above that was completely shattered, so they need to replace that.
That's like one of my like biggest like fears. It's not people dying; it's people breaking their bones. I cringe. Like I can't look at it. No, I physically cringe.
Oh, yeah.
Like
For the longest time, oh, sorry for cutting you off.
No,
but
go
like,
ahead.
for
No,
the
go ahead.
longest time, like after the accident had happened, they had the leg, my left leg in a cast, and I always thought that maybe just because I didn't know the extent of what happened until later on they kind of told me, but this section right here, like above my where my
your ankle.
where my ankle is at, there's like a big chunk of my flesh that was there that was completely gone
Whoa.
because of the accident.
Was
So
it gone?
they show, so like I have pictures where it's just like they're holding up my leg and there's a big hole in it
Jesus.
where it's gone.
So flesh like actually
Well,
came out.
yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
well,
So
came
that-
off from the accident, or
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
So what
So
they
was
had
that,
to
was
do,
that left like in the street?
some homeless person probably
Picked it
made
up.
off with it, but
Dinner.
yeah, could have been someone's dinner. But what they had to do in order, because if they weren't able to add that other muscle where my leg where that area was missing,
Mhm.
then they would need to amputate my whole leg. So what they did was that they were going to do like this kind of experimental thing where they took one of my ab muscles
Mm.
and they just grafted it into my leg.
They basically like molded it into.
Yeah, they molded it, and
Oh
then
my
they
God.
I have a whole video. I don't know if you
So they took it
Yeah.
from like your like the like
Yeah,
basically your stomach
yeah.
fat or like
no,
ab-
they like where my muscles at, where my ab
Oh.
muscle. They removed one of my muscles there,
Oh my god.
and then they just I don't know if they shoved it in there, but they kind of grafted it in there, and then they took a section of my thigh skin. They just
Ah.
like lasered it off, like right here, and then they grafted it over it.
Jesus.
And it looked like a net, but it was out of my own skin, and
Uh-huh.
it was holding it all together.
Wow.
I
That's crazy.
also heard
Yeah.
that like if they need like fat or like if they need like fat or like tissue, they'll just take it from like your backside, if you know what I mean.
Oh, like suck it out of your ass or something like that.
yeah, I
that's
know.
usually how it happens.
But it didn't happen with you.
No, I didn't need any fat. They just needed a skin, so they just took some from my
Oh,
thigh.
skin. Okay.
But it
And
grew
muscle.
back, yeah.
And muscle.
They needed the muscle from my ab.
Does that grow
Skin?
back? The ab?
No, that muscle's never coming back.
For real?
Yeah, it's gone.
So if you ever get like abs, it's just gonna be
one missing ab. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not serious.
Oh
I'm
my
not joking.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah,
Is it feel like hollow there?
not anymore. No, I
You
still
did?
I have a big scar right here.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, where they cut open.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
god. How big is how big is the scar? Is this like small or is it
It's
like
probably like 4 or 5 inches.
Ooh.
It's not small, but it's not too big either.
Right.
And do they repair like the nerves and everything, like on your leg?
Where they put that graft in, I don't think there's no nerves right here.
Mm-hmm.
The muscle's there now, but I'm never gonna be able to feel this anymore.
Oh, so you can't.
I can feel my foot. My foot's fine.
Yeah.
But where
That-
where my
Where your calf is?
yeah, where my calf was, but now it's like an ab muscle. I can't feel that anymore.
Oh, wow.
Right, because
That's crazy.
you're basically like, it's basically like you're
The
taking
nerves
one
right
part,
there
and
were
the
like
nerve-
they weren't damaged, but they were stretched out. So I mean, I can
Ooh.
kind of like if you were to touch it, I can't feel it necessarily, but
Mhm.
I can feel you poking at it.
Oh.
But I can't feel where you're touching it. I can just feel the pressure of you.
Yeah, you
putting
can feel the
onto-
pressure,
Yeah.
but not like.
Yeah.
So you can like put like a knife through it. You won't feel it.
Well,
Oh,
the
but
same
he'll-
thing with the bottom of my foot. I can't really feel it too well because
Oh.
you know how
Mhm.
it was all like stretched out the nerves. So
Yeah.
if I were to put this on like those, those people who walk on those hot coals,
Yeah.
I could probably do that.
For real?
Yeah, I could probably.
but like on one of your feet.
yeah,
like,
one
not-
of my foot, not the other one. The right foot's fine. So
Yeah.
How was the other leg, the right leg?
it's all fine. What happened with the right leg is the femur bone broke,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to basically put a rod in it. And
Oh.
then, but the left leg has like my knee got shattered into two,
Mm-hmm.
so they basically had to put like, oh god, if I show you the X-rays, there's like 3 or 4 screws in there, and there's a big rod going down all the way down the leg,
That's crazy.
and my femur broke too, so they had to put a rod in here.
And is that
So I'm like this leg is like cyborg leg almost.
Mhm.
do all those rods ever like they ever come off or they're gonna
I
be-
think they might replace them or eventually just completely remove them. If a scooter hit my ankle, if it hit right here, no, it wouldn't. I wouldn't feel it. It would just be like
He's
Cyborg.
he's inhuman.
He's a cyborg.
He's a cyborg.
RoboCop.
RoboCop.
But like, I don't know. I was gonna say like, if
It's
like,
not too bad. I
it's
mean, I
not too
had
bad.
an uncle who was, I believe, when he was around my age, he was with my dad,
Mhm.
and they were at the shooting range, and he shot his foot with the AK-47.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And his whole foot, like right where the toes are, like he blew off his toes basically. So they had to
Oh,
put like
shit.
fake toes and stuff like that.
He has fake toes?
Yeah,
Is he balanced?
he walks fine.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
It's pretty
Dude,
rad.
Now I'm pretty sure now at shooting ranges you can't even like if you're holding a gun you can't even look the other
I mean, I
way.
think because he pointed it down accidentally, and I don't know what he was doing.
But it's a huge gun. It's not easy to just like
Aim down.
I don't know. I wouldn't know because I've never actually like shot a gun. I would like to go one day.
You
but,
should definitely go to a shooting
We
range.
want to.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Portillo was telling us how. What was the story he told us, Yesenia? That like he was saying it like he was telling us that like when he grows up like he wants to have a gun like a gun, right, like a legit gun.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, he was telling me, like, I'm really protected. Like, of course, I want to be doing stupid shit like everyone else does. He's like, I only shot one, like, accidentally. Oh, but it was because someone else's fault. I'm like, what do you mean you shot one accidentally? He's like, when I was at the shooting range, like, they didn't have the safety on. And I just grabbed the pistol and I shot it. But I didn't know it was loaded.
Wow.
And he shot it, like, on the floor or something.
Jesus.
And I'm like, but still, like, why did you even tell us that story? Like, you're like, not really helping your case.
Yeah.
You're literally that.
At least it's
that
better than him just shooting in the air. Like
Yeah.
like bullets don't believe in gravity.
Jeez.
I even pulled the trigger.
Put his finger on the trigger.
Yeah, that's true. Like, why he was like pretending like it's like one of those guns with the orange tip at the end.
No, you mean the BB guns?
Or BB guns or just the guns that just shoot and nothing happens. It's the sound effect.
Oh, like the blanks.
Yeah.
I like. You can't. I don't even know where you even buy blanks. To be honest, I don't know.
Like
Like this
rubber,
one?
like rubber.
No,
bullets?
like like you fire and just the smoke comes out and the sound.
Oh.
That's basically all.
Like
it
those
is.
film ones?
Yeah, like you shoot them up in
Oh,
there.
yeah. I don't know where those go.
Because I feel like if you had that and you had it loaded with blanks, just like the fact that you pulled the trigger and made a noise, that would probably be more than likely just scare anybody away from you, right?
For real.
If there was somebody breaking into your home, at least if you don't want to like,
If you don't actually want to shoot it, you just fire that.
yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't want to take that risk because you never know. If someone's breaking into your house, then you never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
What's your favorite gun that you've ever like? What's your favorite gun that you've ever shot?
I've only shot so many guns. I've only ever had like a Remington 308. I believe that's what it was, like it's basically like a high caliber kind of a rifle, like a bolt action. I had I forget the name of it. I think it was a Remington 12 gauge shotgun.
Oh, okay.
And I think I had an AR.
AR-15.
Yeah,
You own all of those, or you shot?
I had owned all those.
Yeah, what happened to them?
I sold them already a
You
while
sold them?
back. Yeah,
You found them for profit, or you just had to get rid of them?
I had to get rid of them. Basically.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Wow,
That's funny.
the idea of like owning a gun in
I
the house.
remember that when that was happening.
Wait, what happened?
It was like when he bought them, like his parents didn't want him to have it.
Oh, really?
And he was just like, I don't care, I'll get them.
Oh my god. Wait, so you sold it back to the shop that
Yeah.
sold it to you?
Yeah, they're like, oh man, that sucks, dude. They're like,
Oh, it sucks.
they're like, oh man, that sucks. But no, it was fun.
That's
The only
fun
thing
while
is
it
that I
lasted.
should have bought some lubricant for those because I had them sitting in the safe for a while and they kind of dried up. So when we were going out to fire them, like it kept getting jammed because there was no lubricant in it.
Oh, okay.
So we had to ask some of the guys at the shooting range if we could borrow some of their lube.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's a lube in your gun.
it's a lube. Well,
Oh,
once they
yeah.
get all they get stuck in the feeding.
They can get
system.
jammed.
Yeah, and it's scary when you have a jam because you never know, you might accidentally like fire it or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Does that happen often? They jam?
they don't happen often, but it happened often when we were using the AR especially because there were so many rounds in the clip, so we had to, when we were shooting it would heat up and then it would, because there's no lube in it, it would get jammed up and everything. So the shotgun was pretty nice though.
Shotgun.
Shotguns are pretty fun.
What do you recommend for a first time shooting range person to shoot? Like, what do you recommend? Like a good weapon?
I mean, the handguns are always nice, but you have to be above 21 to even own a handgun in California.
Right.
You have to be 18. I don't really understand that mentality. You can own ARs, you can own shotguns, you can own like hunting rifles, which are way more higher, can have higher calibers than
Right,
like
but
a
also
handgun.
maybe because
You can hide 'em.
Yeah, you can hide them, conceal them. It's for a shotgun, like it's effective, but a lot of times people use it for like home defense. For handguns, people like have their own ways. There's more of a risk with a pistol, with someone having a pistol than having a shotgun, mainly for the concealing. Yeah, but if it were up to me, either make them all 18 or make them all 21. Like, don't have some that are 21, some 18, because then you're just gonna have more questions than answers.
Yeah, but I think everybody should have at least something to defend themselves, like, or at least defend their homes, I would say, because you never know, something bad might happen and you just want to be prepared.
Right, but doesn't the law say that like all your weapons, like you can have a gun, but they all have to be like this, like it has to be unloaded, the safety has to be on, and it has to be disassembled, something like that. Like, I don't know if that's like the law or not, but like, does the weapon have to be disassembled or in a safe or something like that?
Well, I think when you're on when you're traveling, it has to be put away separate from the ammunition, definitely.
But
if you're going through certain, I don't really understand that, because there's certain areas that you travel through, especially like there's people that travel from like like Inglewood or like South Central. Like I wouldn't want to go through those areas without having something to defend myself on.
Yeah.
Like if anything could happen.
Yeah,
like,
but California is a weird state where there's all this crime, but then there's like all these people that don't want you to have guns, which makes people who have the guns illegally more able to have the guns because they know that nobody else has a gun because it's illegal. But that's just my opinion. That's my belief.
You remember when that Charlie Hebdo shit happened?
Oh yeah, with the
France when
yeah,
they drew Allah?
Yeah,
right?
they drew one picture of the prophet, or not of the prophet, or like God. I forgot
of Muhammad.
Of Muhammad. Yeah,
They
drew
drew
Muhammad, and that happened.
They got shut up, and then this city in Texas, this little town in Texas, did a after that they did a draw Muhammad. They did a draw Muhammad contest.
Yeah.
And Terrace went to go attack it, and they instantly got killed. Like everyone there was packed with like.
Yeah, like if you try to go places where people can defend themselves, you can't really do much because everyone could just. If everyone has a firearm, then no one really has power over another person.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I don't know what the terrorists like. This makes no sense. Like, if somebody like, there's a lot like, because I'm Jewish, there's a lot of anti-Semitic stuff everywhere. But I don't go out and killing people for what is considered freedom of speech in their country. It's not like I'm not gonna go out there and like hurt somebody just because they said some like racist shit. I mean, it's your right, but is this something that's like? There's just parts of like of Islam and like religion in general that can be seen as like backwards in that mentality where you can't have any like, I don't know, just the whole like going out to murder somebody just for something that's considered disrespectful. It's weird, but
religion's pretty crazy. I would say there's a lot of things that if someone's really like, if you tell certain things to certain people, they might not handle it. You know, the way that you would intend them to. Some people can freak out over different things. It's like it's probably generational thing because nowadays it's like you said, there's a lot of crazy people out there that freak out if you tell them the wrong thing.
Yeah, like yeah.
You religious?
A little bit more than I used to be.
Did you grow up religious?
Not really. I mean, I used to go to church a lot with my grandparents, especially, but. I never really had a drive to want to go towards it, mainly because it's kind of boring. You go to sermons and you just sit there and you're just like, they're saying things, but like you don't really know what they're saying sometimes, and you just sit there and you're like, oh.
Sometimes I wonder, like what percentage of our generation are still going to go to church every Sunday on a regular basis? With like, let's say without like parents' influence, like if you start a family, would you take them to church? Bernal?
Yeah.
You would?
I would definitely take them to church.
Yeah. Really?
I'm becoming more
religious or agnostic.
Agnostic, yeah.
So that means like you believe in a God, but you don't believe in religion, or you don't.
Just like
you're not confident in your religion.
I'm just I'm not close-minded to the idea.
I would say a lot of the ideas of religion, especially like Christianity. You know, like believing in like keeping the community kind of safer because you all have like a common belief system. It's kind of what keeps the community together.
That's true.
If you have so many different people with different beliefs, some of them are conflicting, you know, and then some people don't understand each other, and that's the reason there's like a lot of like hatred between different groups of people.
Yeah, but yeah, I grew up like not religious, which is a shock to a lot of people because when people think that I'm Jewish or people know that I'm Jewish, like they assume that I'm like religious or I know everything like. I know everything about Judaism, and really, I know just about as much as like the average like American Jew knows. Like not very much. I just never grew up that way. I had my bar mitzvah, and then I had my circumcision, and then occasionally, and then I went to Hebrew school. That's about it. I would never go on a day. I would never go to my synagogue every week. It was just never. It never called me. Like I don't know. I just never felt anything from religion. That's why I
never really understood the whole circumcision thing. Like you have to like cut your dick to.
I think it had to do with back in the day that it was seen as
a sacrifice.
As a sacrifice, but also just like it also seen as like a healthy thing, which is nowadays why it was. That's why it's considered like a lot of people do it now because there's like a cleanliness thing. But
I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to like mutilate my kid. You know,
but that's just, but luckily, in your faith,
you don't do that. You don't really do that to women though. Like you don't like cut off.
For female, it would just be genital mutilation.
That's kind of.
I mean, it's not the same, but I don't know. It's tradition. Like it's not like it hurts anybody, and nowadays more and more people are starting to do it.
If I could, I would. What would it look like? Just a hole? Oh no, but If I would do it, I would do it. If I could do it, I would do it.
You would circumcise yourself?
Not now. Not that I'm
Not-
older.
not-
If I was a kid, I would have preferred it.
Remember when Zadrak was talking about when he had his
You got it younger.
he had
Or
no, he
like
had it when he
middle
was
school?
12.
Yeah.
That seems bad. Like, it
Sounds
doesn't it hurt?
terrible.
The older you are, the
Yeah.
worse it is for you?
Yeah, it's
Like
super
you-
sensitive.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
I wouldn't want to do it now, but I would prefer it.
Mm-hmm.
If I could choose, I would prefer it younger.
I really I have no say in it because I got it when I was like 8 days old. So like I never knew.
Yeah, me too. I didn't have a say in it either.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Would you
Yeah.
prefer not to?
It doesn't matter
To
at this
me,
point.
I don't really care at this point. I don't have any. I mean,
I feel
if
like
I had
if
kids,
it-
I wouldn't be.
If it still works, it still works, right?
I remember, I forgot who comedian they were saying like everyone's the same, everyone's beautiful, unless you're not circumcised. Then you're disgusting.
I'm
I was-
sure.
Speaking of like just religion, like I was remembering this podcast about Joe Rogan, where he was talking about like simulation theory,
Mhm.
where it's like actually like a high percentage that we actually could be in a simulation, just because from like how technology is moving now, that us being in a simulation is like a really high probability of it being possible.
In
Just-
the Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
Oh, wow.
Just like they're saying, like how like the Big Bang could how do we not know like the Big Bang was like someone turning on like the program or something, and like when like scientists when scientists are like learning that shit about space and all that stuff, like we're really just learning about like our own technology, like whatever who's controlling us, technology and shit. Like we wouldn't know that it's a simulation, obviously. But isn't that weird? That
But
kind of tripped me out. That's just like,
But it's just like humans as like a species. We're the only ones who have ever questioned why we're here, why we do this, why we do that. And we come up with these theories about like how we came to be. And there are some theories that are more plausible than others. Like, you know, there's people that say that the Big Bang happened and that's how we came to be. Also, people think that the Earth is 5,775 years old. So there's always that theory, but I don't know. Like, I just like the fact that we're more and more open-minded about how we came to be, and like that's why it's still called a theory, like Big Bang theory, because it's not a fact yet. I don't know. I'm not questioning the Big Bang because like I don't know. I'm not because I've just never. No, the show is great, but. No, I just never had a reason to question it.
Yeah, I feel like the whole science.
But I like
Oh,
hearing what other people have to say about that.
sorry,
About like,
says that and interrupts Bernal.
no, I thought
was
he was
kidding.
done. That's why.
No, what were you saying, Bernal?
sorry about that.
That's fine. No, I would say the whole science and religion thing is kind of complicated because in the past, like everything was based around religion explaining everything,
Yeah.
right? And then when science came around, it kind of disproved a lot of the things. So that's why a lot of people don't really go to church or anything like that because a lot of it's kind of like you feel like you're an idiot if you go to church. But I feel like the whole purpose of religion in itself is just to bring people together more than anything. There's a lot of like those not books, but like those stories in the Old Testament where like you have angels fighting and coming to earth and all these demons and stuff like that. I mean, that's just probably how people interpreted things back then. I mean, I'm not saying that everything in the Bible is kind of like fantasy. I mean, obviously, there's probably most of the events that they were describing was actually happened, or historically happened. But I think that what the whole purpose of the religion was just to set like a moral precedence. Like
That's what
people need to, honor their family. Not give in to like hedonism,
stealing.
Yeah, like all that other stuff just to keep people from going crazy, essentially. But now, like, since people don't really believe in God or just keep away from religion, you see a lot of people just like have like a sense of emptiness almost. Because if you see like a lot of people like to cling on to different ideologies so quickly, is because there's like a vacuum, I would say, that people need to fill in, and that's kind of what religion is, to fill in that vacuum, to explain what's going on in the world, or to like justify why you do things. And without that, you just kind of like wander aimlessly. I think that's why a lot of kids nowadays don't really have like a passion to do things. A lot of people just hang around. They don't really know what to do with themselves.
But do you think that like religion gives them that, like, fills in the gap, that like the reason why they're not passionate about something is that they don't have religion in their life?
not necessarily just religion, but like just a purpose for
There's a
even
purpose
doing
to live.
anything. Just doing
You think-
anything.
Yeah, there's a reason like why we're here.
Mm.
Like, what do you call it?
There's a discussion going around that like religion like instills morals. Like
I mean, it's based on a certain morals. It has like
Right.
a list of commands
But
that
for
you
the-
follow.
right, but for those who are irreligious, those who don't believe in religion at all, they still have like in a lot of those cases they still have those basic morals like not to kill, not to steal, not to do all that, but they never grew up with religion. They didn't have religion in their life.
The only problem with that is that if you talk to people that are not religious, their moral values can vary between different people. So you may ask someone, do you think abortion's good or bad? Some people might say yes, some people might say no. But within within just Christianity, the idea of abortion is in itself a bad thing. So it's already set. There's already things that are set. So you can't really go against that unless you're going against your religion. People's different values, they change depending on who you ask. But if you go towards something that's within Christianity, it's already set in stone. You can't change it because that's the moral system that you chose willingly to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the rules are, what it means, and
Yeah. What happened with me was that I let like growing up. Well, first I grew up obviously with religion, but then like growing up, like I started like questioning it and shit, saying like how a lot of this is based off of human, like in history, like they kind of like used religion as a control method. You know what I mean? Like how the Vatican or like just churches like used it to like instead of like having like police, they're just like, oh, if you steal, like God, you're gonna go to hell. So it's kind of like a way of control. So it kind of ruined it for me, just seeing how like it was a way to like what's it called when they went out to Africa and like Mexico to talk about religion, but really it was
like
just,
missionaries, like missionary, like
yeah, but I forgot the word, like gentrification. No, that's not it.
gentrification.
like assimilation.
I guess assimilation.
You mean
But
convert people to different?
Yeah,
religions?
it was just telling people that we're going to these people because we're saving them.
Yeah.
But it was really just a way to like control the land and the resources and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of ruined it for me because I'm just like yeah, Hispanics are religious, but it's because like Americans came and they really just wanted to control and they wanted. That's what I always felt like.
But also back then, they like the Europeans thought that the Aztec and the Mayans were quote unquote savages because they had like there were some cannibalistic rituals that they did, and to them that was considered like like barbaric.
Yeah, but like in India then, for example,
Right.
But in a way, that what they did in terms of like their harsh regulations, how like they had those strict rules that you had to follow, and they had like Inquisition like persecuting people that didn't follow like within the laws.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why it was kind of like that was we had to talk about like the circumstances of what was going on in those times as well. Like think about it, in like for like the longest time, like Christianity and Islam, they never mixed, right? Like there was always holy wars against these kind of two factions.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you take it into those contexts where they're basically you had, the Crusades going into those areas and there's like conflict of beliefs, I would say without that sort of, well, at least during those times, if they didn't have those strict, rules, that entire region wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be the same way as it is today without the influence of Christianity.
But it's kind of crazy how, like you said, like they never clashed. Like Christianity and Islam never blended, or
They still don't really blend to this day. There's always like people having crimes against them.
But if you take it down to like the bare bones of like the basics of the religion, they like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they all believe in the same God. Like what is Allah, what is like God, and what is like Hashem, is like that. They're all the same God. And they follow like the same story, at least in the Old Testament. Like they all follow the Old Testament in a way. And then they're like Judaism doesn't have a New Testament. Christianity has their testament, and the Islam has their own. Like that's what the Quran is, mostly the stories of Muhammad. But I was going somewhere with that. But no, I'm saying like my point was that at the bare bones, they all should like, they all should be like closer together because they all came from the same roots, the same origins. from the Abrahamic religions. They are the three monotheistic religions in the major monotheistic religions. But it's sad that like there's so much hatred between like Christians and Muslims. Like it's just sad. Like I also like just missionaries. Like I don't like in Judaism. Like we don't convert. We don't like Jews don't convert other Jews or to convert other people to Judaism. But you see like with Muslims, what happens like they conquered like a lot of the world and they forced them into Islam. And in Christianity, it wasn't like maybe there was forceful conquest, but like now they still do it today with like missionaries in Africa and in these areas where it's mostly tribalistic, and now there's a lot of them are becoming Christian. And it's always been interesting to me. I don't know what you guys like thought about that. Like just the fact that there's missionaries in the world, like Mormonism. It's a branch of Christianity, but they're still like trying to actively recruit people into their faith, or even non-religion like Scientology. Like
and their I guess in their head, because I used to study with Jehovah's Witnesses. In the Bible, like it tells them that like they think they're saving them because like in the Bible, like Jesus went across and all these priests go across and talk the word of God to these people that don't know about it, who I guess are they're like they don't know, they're ignorant, like they don't know about it. So they're going them and they're telling them about it, and they're able to learn and to pray, and that's gonna get them like a chance in paradise or whatever. So really, in their head, like they're saving those people by talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the mentality of people like that, like Mormons or.
But you know what's crazy? That like I don't know if this is like I can't confirm this is true or not. But apparently Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon religion, said was only 14 when he found those like scripts, or when he found those scripts that believed that Jesus was found, or basically like the Bible was founded in America. Like he was 14 years old. Like I don't know if like how you question like how authentic that could be if like a 14-year-old kid just founds a religion. But you don't want to. But of course, you always want to respect religion.
Maybe we should cut it short.
Right.
So, do you want to cut it now or do you want to keep going?
We can keep going. Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
You're okay. Is there any sponsors that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to sponsor SeatGeek.
Do we actually have sponsors now?
Yeah. So we have Raid Shadow Legends.
No way.
Put
code Dobrik in the thing, and you'll get 20% off your next purchase.
Wait, you play Raid Shadow Legends?
No, I just see that everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think a lot of people like they just sell out to those guys real quick because they offer you a certain amount and then you just go for it.
But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with like, to me. There's nothing wrong with having sponsors. But if if it's separate than your regular programming,
I think if you get a sponsor and you don't believe in the product, that's when you're wrong. But if you actually try the product and you like it, then it's like, well, yeah, you have to make money out somehow.
Right. That's true. I get what you mean, but
like if you're advertising a product that's trash, like.
But then that's why you don't say that you like it.
Supplements.
If you're sponsored, though, don't you have an obligation to?
You have an obligation to use the product.
But you can agree. You have to. You can try the product and then.
You like. How do you think all reviews? Like think of reviews online or like games or movies or stuff. A lot of the time, like the company actually sends the people the game to review, but it's just basically the opinion of the reviewer, probably because he has a large fan base, and a lot of the times the success of the game depends on the review. If it's like IGN or like GameSpot, like those kinds of companies, like they get paid to play the game, and they give their opinion on it. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Like as long as you're not forcefully saying that you like it. I'm just saying, like, and also as long as the sponsor is separate than the review. or like maybe at the end of the video. I'm fine with it. There's nothing wrong with people making money, because lately YouTube has been it's been hard for people to make money on YouTube.
I think there's a new sort of quota that they're having if your videos are flat or titled
demonetized.
They get demonetized if they're if you use any sort of like language. But no, I think recently they're gonna do to where if your videos are like considered kid friendly, they're gonna demonetize you.
If they're considered kid friendly.
Yeah, I think there's a new act that they're coming out with. I don't know what it is.
Wait,
called.
so
that's why that one little kid that reviews Legos is fucked.
Oh.
That reviews toys. What's his name? You signed
Evan, isn't it Evan?
Yeah, Evan.
Dude,
yeah, it's fucked.
Wait,
all
so
his millions that he got. He was the richest.
He was the richest kid in the world.
No, richest YouTuber last year. Like he got the most money.
Wait, how do they know that though?
The statistics.
Right, but how do they get the statistics? Like YouTube, like isn't
someone had it for that.
I don't know. File his taxes. They got his taxes.
Yeah, they got his tax.
But that's not so easy to get because it's not a public company. It's like it's some dude's. It's a private business. I assume.
Well, maybe he makes money off of the sponsors that he the toys.
Oh, maybe
his whole every video is a commercial though.
Basically,
yeah, for that kid.
But
he just reviews any sort of toy.
So then how? So if the kid, if being kid friendly gets you demonetized, then what? How can you make money on YouTube?
Like I said, like that kid makes money off of like companies like telling him to review their toys.
Right, but you said that now, like he doesn't make money.
They can't have ads.
They can't have ads.
Yeah,
but his whole episodes or his whole videos are ads. But I
guess he gets the money off of the views that he gets.
Well, you can. I think you can have your own private sponsors, right? You don't.
Yeah, right. But that's why I rate Shadow Legends, ExpressVPN, NordVPN, all those VPNs that you see. They're all because of sponsors. Like, there's a reason. Like, a lot of those YouTubers are alive today because of those sponsors. If not, like, it's really hard. Like, it's like think about it. Like, without like what videos would be left? If like all of them are demonetized.
Well, a lot of
Ellen. But those people like those kinds of stuff are already like famous. They don't need YouTube like revenue. Like I mean they're fine. Like I mean I wouldn't say fine, but like those people like you expect them to like get money off of YouTube because they're like they're already established. But if kids can't like advertise or if nobody can like if you say like one bad word then you're instantly demonetized. And even just like the subjects that people talk about like can get you demonetized. Like if you talk about like something like political but you don't use any foul language, it just has to do with politics or like a different country, like that can get you demonetized. But it's not like they're saying anything like foul or even anything bad, like negative. Just talking about the subject can get you like basically like blacklisted from ever making profit off of your what people spend like hours, like tens, like basically like hundreds of hours like editing for like, and they end up not seeing any money from it. I think it's messed up.
What are you saying, bro?
I forgot what I was gonna say, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
But that's happened to Alex Jones.
Yeah, but
they completely like cut that guy out of like getting any sort of payment. Like he wasn't able to use Patreon or like he was banned from so many different platforms just because of what he was saying.
Yeah,
he had to basically start up his own kind of
website
and everything just so that he can be free of that.
Yeah. Right,
that's pretty crazy though.
But YouTube has like such a grip on like video streaming. It's like if you're gone from YouTube, where else do you go?
There's
like
a lot
Twitter.
There's some places that you can go to now,
like
different.
I think if anything, that's kind of good.
There's like I think there's a website called BitChute. Yeah, it's basically like YouTube, how it used to be, but it's completely uncensored. Like you can post anything. I've seen videos like listing from like like you guys were just saying about like a kid reviewing like toys, like Lego review, all the way to like. I've seen crazy stuff like open racism, like dudes wearing Klan suits, burning crosses. I've seen all that. That's on that website. Like you can post basically anything you want there.
Right.
That's crazy.
But like what I'm saying is that like there's not real. There are outlets out there, sure, but none that will even come close to what YouTube will be.
I mean, YouTube is kind of killing itself though. Like I mean, eventually somebody's gonna come up. And out.
Yeah. I mean, we've only lived like the technology age, like the real technology, like social media just started. We're just in the beginning, so
That's true.
it may seem like we may think that YouTube will be forever just because like we've had it all like most of our lives, but it could end any time.
I think a lot of it has to do with the whole management behind it. A lot of it's being managed by people who don't know like what YouTube was originally built on, which was just freedom of speech. You can upload anything.
Yeah.
Right, and not have to worry about repercussions.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of the original videos were like. Like people didn't do it for the money in the beginning; they just did it because it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also just today, like for example, like Twitch, like the game streaming site, like their closest competitor is Mixer, and like nobody uses like even if they get like Ninja from Twitch onto Mixer. Like people still aren't going to go to Mixer because they already have like such an established base on Twitch, so it's really hard to get people to switch. And like even if you offer like full freedom of speech or whatever, only a certain amount of people will actually go, and then the rest will just stay on YouTube because that's what they know, that's what they're most comfortable with.
But I feel like the people that have been pushed out and are continuously getting pushed out are just gonna move. Or gonna just encourage more people to leave YouTube to other stuff.
I think so too.
Because if you see that you're like, I mean, you compare YouTube from like 2010 to now, it's completely different. Like it's like not even close, or not even that. Just like probably like 2 years ago, right?
The stuff that trends is always like the same thing, like Jimmy Fallon clips
or sports
highlights.
Yeah,
some people like that, but I feel like a lot of people that were on YouTube in the beginning don't really give a shit about that.
That's
stuff.
crazy. I actually saw Joe Rogan actually trending for once on YouTube, but it was because of Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah, he had a
and the other time he got trending on YouTube was for Bernie Sanders. So what I think is that there are like specific videos of Joe, because Joe Rogan is always like his videos always get like millions of views. It should always be trending, but I think like YouTube just picks and chooses which videos get trending or not.
The worst part is when your videos get flagged because of like some stupid things. Like you have like a 2-second clip of something,
like music or something,
or you say, it's just, and then your whole video gets claimed and demonetized, and you just lose everything. It's like, what's the point of me even making the video if I get nothing out of it? Some people like that.
There are companies that, like Sony, that pay these organizations in India to just find a bunch of videos and just flag them for like copyright, so they could get a bunch of money off of those videos. Like, that's they get millions of views. Yeah,
and especially they can find if it's just anything. Like a 2-second clip,
and it could be like an hour-long video. That's what happens to H3 all the time. Really? He gets flagged.
I can understand if they want to take out that one section of maybe it's their stuff, but like if they flag the whole video and you did so much editing and work on it, like that seems crazy to me.
It's crazy.
I wouldn't want to be in that
situation.
It's fucked.
Yeah. And people have gotten a lot better at like making YouTube videos. If you compare like if you remember what Smosh was doing back in the day, they literally just had their like a webcam and they just filmed themselves doing that. But now people are like YouTube is like an inspiration for people to actually spend time, money, effort, and like buying like the best equipment, only for them to like edit like some music in there, and then all of that work is just lost. It's ridiculous. But I mean, what can I do? I'm not a YouTuber, and I'm not gonna. And it's not like YouTube will have a union anytime soon. So.
Yeah, can you imagine a YouTube union?
Or just amazing. a social. I mean. There's SAG, like Screen Actors Guild, like
that's nothing to do with YouTube.
Yeah, I know, but like our YouTube, but I mean entertainers though, like I don't know, like because YouTube is like a form of like television entertainment.
That's a social media.
Really, you think YouTube's like social media?
I think it counts in that category. I don't think it has anything to do with. You're not gonna get an Oscar for a YouTube video.
There's like, but there's like Webbies, like there are like internet awards. I don't know. It's like its own like.
Well, like, you can't say nothing really good comes out of it because some people produce things and they put it up there, and then some companies or some people are like, "Dude, this is amazing," and then they contact those people and then they bring them aboard. Yeah. I mean, like think about it. I think like Adventure Time was originally a short video on YouTube or something like that some guy was making, and then the network picked them up.
Yeah. No. Before what was funny was that Nickelodeon had the opportunity to pick up that show. They didn't pick up the show, and instead they picked up Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so they like Adventure Time used to be like it was like a short, but Nickelodeon didn't like think it was like appropriate for their audience. So instead they basically Cartoon Network picked that show up, but then Nickelodeon picked up Fanboy and Chum Chum.
That thing didn't even last a season, right? Like
no, they lasted a few years, but like
Fanboy and Chum Chum,
they lasted at least two. They lasted 2 seasons, but
the merchandise that they get from Adventure Time is a lot.
Yeah,
like
so
comics,
they probably make a lot of money.
Plush,
all those stuff.
Yeah, everything.
Pops.
They had conventions too, where people came in.
Yeah, exactly. That show was amazing.
But think about it.
Did you finish that show?
Yeah,
I love that show.
I didn't see every episode, but I got to the end.
Oh
yeah. Because I mean, there's a lot. Like there was, after a certain point, I stopped watching because it was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I came back to it. You binge watched the whole thing?
I binge watched it. I think last year, right? Binge watched it last year, just because like I was like, I always wanted to finish this show.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
It's like you either binge watch the story. It's like you either watch it all in one go or you don't watch it at all. That's how I feel like. That's what it feels like for me nowadays. If it's a show I want to watch, I have to watch everything in one go because I can't just do like episode. I just forget and like I never get to finishing it. It's what happened with The Mandalorian. I watched 2 episodes, and then the
beginning was really good. I thought the beginning was. Some of the episodes got stale, but then some of it was good. Like that one episode with the heist or whatever. Yeah, I feel like that one was really nice.
Yeah.
Had Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
That was random.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, there's this website that I found recently where you can watch all of these shows, like a bunch of shows, like 24/7. So like if YouTube? I ever,
YouTube?
No, it's not on YouTube. It's another website. I'll tell you after. Where it's like you just watch, like they have like different categories. Like if you're into like Family Guy or Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Or like if you just want to watch movies or like music videos, they have like 24/7 like channels for all of them. Malcolm in the Middle, they also have that too. Oh, wow. I like. There's a lot of shows that I think you would like it just to see like the variety. What's on it. Well, I'll tell you after, or I'll put a link in the description, Spotify description down below, or Apple Music, whichever one you prefer.
All right.
And also I just don't know the name of it off the top of my head.
All right.
It's a website. Nope. No, that one you can watch episodes like one by one, but like this one is like a channel. It's like a channel where like as soon as the episode ends, it just goes to the next one. Like auto plays 24/7. Sometimes the episodes are in order, sometimes they're just random. Like I don't know, but there's a lot of variety. It's pretty cool.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Honestly, that product placement right there. So that one website
that we don't know the name of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we end it?
Or do you want to keep going? You can do whatever.
You want to keep going?
Well, I just had one question because we were going like really off topic.
We're going everywhere.
But there was a question I wanted to talk about when you guys were mentioning like church and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about like the donations? Like, do you first of all, when you go to church, do you always donate when you go to church?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah. I feel like everybody's kind of like if you don't do it, you feel kind of weird, right? It's like one of those things. Like, if you don't do it,
you kind of have to because it's like there's no other way to make profit to stay up.
I don't think that you giving dollars, people mostly just give $1, right? I don't think that's enough to keep that place open. I think a lot of it's because they get either funding or they have they don't have to pay certain taxes because they're
tax exempt. Yeah. But they're but then they're considered like a charity essentially. Like, but what are they? But if I don't know, the law is weird. But like, unless they're doing like, I guess the church is a charity, but the money that they get, like,
I don't. Well, I like to think of them as a charity, but if you look around, like especially here, like in like California, like Southern California, there's a lot of homeless people. I don't see like that many religious people groups like coming together trying to help the homeless situation, really.
But there's also a study that says like the most religious, like there's a correlation between like the poorest people in America and the most religious people. That a lot of the time the people that are religious also either came from a poor upbringing or were poor or are poor currently, but they see religion like as a charity, like as a way for them to like fill in the emptiness, and like that the situation that they're in, the religion helps them like aid. Yeah, but to what extent like does the donations that you give to the church help besides help keep the church running, helps the community? Because I wouldn't know, because I've only been to a church like once or twice, but I've never donated. Not because I didn't want to, it's just because I was young. So like I don't know. I did that in my synagogue, but that's because I was just told to do that. But no, not in a church.
I mean, I understand it. I understand that also people take advantage of that, like those big churches, those huge coliseums that like host like thousands of people.
Televangel, like what about?
Yeah, televangelists and shit. Like
I feel like most of those are scams.
Those are all scams.
Yeah,
yeah, like pastors wearing like $500 like shoes or like Gucci wear, and they fly private jets. Like it's crazy. Those are obviously BS, but like so I understand like like other stuff, like little churches that like ask for money. Like that makes sense.
Or not that they don't ask for money, but they're like they say that it's like the money is for like God or for a being. I don't know if that's true or not. Or maybe they like in these churches they flat out say it's for like to keep the church running. But from what I see, it just looks like they just pass a box around and just they hope that you put money in there. But I don't know if they also say like it's God, like, you know, it's to help God, like you put the money in and like it goes to God or something like that.
The thing about charity though that I like and don't like is if you keep giving people free stuff, I feel like that gives it kind of is in a sense incentivizes them not to really do anything.
To who not do anything?
Like
the church to not do anything?
No, like just the people that you give it to. Like if you look into what's happening, especially in like Africa, you know how there's always those donation boxes where it's like, oh, give $1 to African children. Because I think if you keep giving them aid, what happens is that they won't develop their own agriculture so that they can feed their own people, and instead they're reliant upon other countries to give them stuff. And that's why you see Africa as this underdeveloped place still, because a lot of support is coming into the country, but because there's so much of that financial support, it stops them from developing themselves.
Isn't it hard to like grow agriculture there though? Like they don't have like that many resources.
You can well, that's the thing. A lot of their agriculture is not even developed because there's no incentive to do it if you're going to be getting free stuff from other nations.
I don't think.
But that hasn't always been though throughout time though.
Yeah.
Like why haven't they modernized like us?
Well, like there's a lot of reasons to it. A lot of it, like I said, like a lot of them are getting, you know, support from other places, and I think it's more of a geographical thing too.
Yeah. That's what I assumed.
Geographical, like just because of their location, like they, you know, that could be it. Like just because like the land that they like, just the fact of where they live, like the land is.
That's
like,
why like Native Americans weren't able to develop so much, just because they were only given a certain amount of resources to work with. They didn't have the same sort of, you know.
Like, but you think that if you leave them, if you think that if you leave them on their own, like to try to develop, they like any like they're, I don't know. You think that like if you just bring capitalism to a place that it will help like it will help their situation.
No, I don't think you're forcing it upon a group of people.
Well, no, not enforce. But my example would probably be like the Soviet, like Russia. Like Russia, for example, they used to be a communist. They used to be communist and socialist. But then when they switched from communist to like a market capitalist society, you end up seeing like a few people like having all of the power, and then the rest of the people getting screwed.
Well, I mean, if they could take it to even a more of an extreme, where after World War I, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and like I think Turkey were forced into becoming republics after being empires under a monarchy rule for like thousands of years. So those people, that's why I think, like, for example, like Germany fell into the whole Nazi ideology, was because Hitler was like sort of like a powerful figure, like a monarch, basically in their eyes, and they were so used to it that they kind of went with the plan. Because those people were never had the idea of even being a democracy, really, right? They were always under a monarchy or like an emperor or something like that,
right?
So they didn't really have that same mentality that other nations had, like the United States, for example. Like, we were founded on the idea of having individual rights and sovereignty, basically.
In a way, yeah.
So it depends on the people too.
It's all on. That was all like on paper, but then in actuality, it was always the people. Like, I'm not trying to say like I'm a socialist or anything, because I'm in reality I'm not. But I'm just saying, like, there's always that counter argument of like what happened to the people, like to everybody else who wasn't at the top. It's like
they still lived as normal people. Most people were basically.
You're talking about like the people that lived in Germany, like the people
living all over the world, basically. Like there was a very few people up on the top, like like the aristocrats, basically, like those high profile individuals. And then there was all sorts of poor people. It doesn't matter where you were. There's always going to be
there's always going to be people on the top and then people on the bottom. But I like in the U.S. that there's always an opportunity to go up. In Russia, not so much, because over there it's like even
In today's time?
In today's Russia, it's really like most of the old people are just like they're just living off of their pensions, and like it's nothing compared to what they remember. They remember it's weird. Like the younger people, they don't like the Soviet Union time, but they hate living now, where like most of them are like, if they're not living in the main cities, that they're all like poor basically. But the old people in Russia they remember the Soviet times, and they lived much better than they live today. But
I don't know about that.
But
the reason I say I don't really know about that is because there was a lot of people who died under
right. No, that's also true. But the people that obviously they remember living. The point is the old people, they remember living like that, they themselves, not like the country as a whole, but like they themselves living a good life under what's considered a worse system. But I'm saying now, as we see, like, right, if you heard about what's happening recently, Putin is basically changing the constitution to give his party more power over there, and they're considered capitalists now. So
I feel like the reason why Putin is such like an iconic leader over there is because he's like a figurehead, basically. Like he's like a man of power that people can look up to and respect. I feel like that's the reason why he's been in there for such a long time.
But it's crazy, like if you think of like,
is he voted in there?
Well, he's voted, but like if you look at it, he's very popular. He's very popular among.
But I feel like Russia's been doing good not as as I feel like their economy and everything like that has been.
They're doing good as a country, but they're not like for its people. It's horrible.
Yeah,
for the majority of people, it's horrible. But I'm saying like the inequality. Everyone talks about the U.S. income inequality. If you go to like places in Europe, it's like one basically like a Russia. Like I'm only using Russia as an example because lately I've been watching like YouTube videos of this guy, and he visits Russia, and he goes to basically the outskirts of like Russian towns, Belarusian town,
like place like Siberia and stuff like that.
Basically, like all around, and you see the inequality of the people that don't live in the big cities, and how they still live a good life. Like they're happy even though they live in basically a shithole. Sorry, yeah.
Do they live in like little farms and stuff, or
little like farms, like communities cut off from like.
I wouldn't say. I mean,
like they get their food delivered,
okay.
Yeah, those kind of places, and like basically food and water delivered.
Because in my opinion, I would much rather stay away from kind of big city environments, because I feel like if you compare the lifestyles to people who live in big community, or not community, but big like cities, and those that live in smaller communities, the people in smaller communities tend to be more closer and knowledgeable of each other. But if for example, you take that scenario and then you take like in a big apartment complex with a bunch of people, even though you guys all live in the same building, most of the time you're not gonna even know who the hell your neighbor is.
That's true.
Like you don't even care about who your neighbor is for the
I think
most
you are
part.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
you would like to.
I would like to I would prefer not living by anybody. I like being like individual. Like, I mean, if I were to live in a community, I would like to like, I don't know, either know my neighbors. Because right now I don't know any of my neighbors. I see them, I say hi, but I don't know anything about them. And I think it's just because we live in a big city, and also Los Angeles in general is a very cold, like not cold like weather, but cold like mentality, where like nobody talks to anybody. Like you don't go up on the street and just start a conversation with somebody. It would just be seen as weird. People would think you're crazy, or just flat out weird.
Yeah, I would rather live out in a smaller community outside of the big towns and stuff.
Right,
like that.
but the big towns and the big cities are where the money is.
Well, I mean, it depends what you want. Like, I don't really necessarily want to have to worry about all that stuff. I would rather just live out on my own land and just do my own thing for the most part.
That's what a lot of people say. That's a lot of the people that live out in those farms, out in those areas. That's what a lot of them say. That they're more happy having everything, owning basically everything that they own, but like even though they don't live in the most like even though they're not the richest people, they're just happy with what they have.
I like how you say like they own what they own.
But
a lot of people nowadays, I mean, back then, even if you were poor, at least you owned.
Yeah,
at least you owned what you owned, right? But now a lot of the time, a lot of these people take out like loans on like to buy things, and they don't even own their own things anymore. So I mean, back then you might have been poor, but you owned everything that you had.
It's actually crazy because here if you want to buy a house, if you actually want to get a loan, you have to have like good credit or something like that. And then when I was in Israel recently, and over there, credit's not a thing. It's based on like trust. Like a lot of it's like trusting and like putting a down payment, but there's nothing about like a credit system. Like there's no like Credit Karma over there where you can check if your score is high, then you are able to rent this place, or if your credit score is low, you can't rent this. Like there's no concept of credit. It's not I don't know why, but
I don't really like the idea of credit score, but at the same time, it's kind of necessary for your background history if you're buying and if you're just trying to own things. But I think it's kind of scummy though, because some businesses especially take advantage of that. Have you noticed how like when you go see those advertisements for like cars, they don't even tell you how much the price of the car is most of the time. They just tell you you can lease it for this amount for every month,
because they assume you're not going to pay all of it in one.
Yeah, and they're titled under like luxury cars, right? But they say, oh, you can lease it for like $500 a month. I mean, $500 a month is pretty much is a lot of money. I mean, I wouldn't say that's cheap.
And you're leasing it.
Yeah, and you're leasing it. It's not even, you don't even own it. Like so.
Yeah, and
now predatory shit like that though.
Yeah, and then some of the times if you even go up, like I remember one time this was before when I was looking around for like a motorcycle, they told me like if I try to like tell them, oh, I'll pay cash for the bike up front, like I don't want to like lease it. Some of them wouldn't even like let me buy it. They would only let me lease it. So I'm like, well, what's the point if I can pay it up front right now? I think because the only way they really make money is if
they didn't want you to buy it.
They didn't want me to pay it up front.
God.
They would rather me lease it.
Yeah, they want you to lease it.
Yeah, they want me to lease it because that's how they usually make the money.
That's what happened with my dad.
What happened?
They wanted my dad to lease like his car that he was getting, but he wanted to buy it fully.
Yeah,
and that's what happened to my uncle also too.
Yeah,
where they told like he was buying a car, and then when he realized that they somehow snuck in that he was leasing it.
No
like,
way.
They didn't tell him. They didn't tell him about it.
Wait, they snuck a lease on him?
Yeah.
It's not even. I don't think that's legal. You can.
Yeah, it's illegal, but it happened years ago.
Oh wow.
So
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So you had to return it.
Jesus.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Damn.
That's how they get you.
Everything is about credit here because like nobody really buys.
Oh.
And if you don't have good credit, you get predatory loans.
Predatory, yeah. Student loans are the worst because
it's crazy that the government is like gives you out basically gives out like predatory loans. Yeah. It's like how is the government giving us a loan that like has like fucking like 50% increase rate.
50% interest rate, you mean?
50%. I've never heard of that.
It's like 30%, like something in like an
I
insane
know
number.
High number.
Certain credit cards that you get do get up to like the 20s or 30s.
No, but like the loans that I'm talking about are like student loans
Yeah,
where
that's right.
you
those are the
can
worst.
default on all of your loans except your student loans. Like you're signed up for life, and if you die, it's passed down to your estate. So basically, your family or anybody.
What's your
Even bankruptcy, even filing
you
for
can't even
bankruptcy.
file for like those. You can't even file for bankruptcy
yeah.
for those loans.
Yeah. It's
Thank,
crazy.
I'm so lucky that I'm going through college and I don't have to take out a loan. But that's why I'm not like fucking around with college. Like I'm taking it seriously because I'm grateful that I'm not having to take out a loan.
what
for that.
profession did you want to get into?
I wanted to do something in the economy. I wanted to either do something with economics or something to do with politics. But I also like finance because I was good in accounting. So I decided to pick that profession because I don't know, I just was good at it, and I thought that would be a good starting career. I don't have to stick with finance forever.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, it's a lot better than what other people have in mind, but you should never disrespect somebody based on what their profession is, because they could have like a stupid degree, what some people would consider a stupid degree, but if they have a plan, then that's a lot better than a lot of people going to college right now doing like engineering and stuff and hoping to get a good job. But there's those people that have like plans ready, like they know what they're going to do by the time they're like 65 or something like that. I wish I could be like that. Just plan out everything. I only have maybe until like the first few years outside of college, because like who knows what's going to happen. But there are people that are dead set, like this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. And those are the people you should be like gaining their wisdom, or not their wisdom, but like their reasoning.
Jesus Christ.
It's okay.
He's crazy.
Bernal's dog is pretty wild in right now.
Pretty wild. Can't control himself.
All right. Well, I think we should end the podcast. This is going on for too long.
How much?
It's just an hour or something. An hour 11.
Oh, okay.
All right. So thank you, Bernal, for being on the podcast. Thank you, Yaniv.
Always a pleasure to be in the podcast.
Thank you for telling your tale, Bernal. The tale of where you almost lost your leg, basically, right?
Yeah.
You almost had it amputated, no?
Yeah. I don't know how that would be. That would be a weird trip. I don't know what I would do if I had lost my leg.
How did they save it? They just did surgery on it?
The whole muscle replacement.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hopefully, yeah, because, I mean, once I start walking again, I'll see what I can do from there. Because right now, while I can't walk, I don't know what I can really do.
Mm.
But after that, it should be fine. My grandpa's been telling me all these things. Like, he wants me to go with him to, like, Belize. Because he's like, dude, he has, like, land over there. So he wants me to go down there because he wants to put some land in my name. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, he has land over there?
Yeah. He wants me to. He says, "Oh, I'm gonna build houses over there." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
You're gonna move to Belize?
That's where I'm gonna put my quail farm.
Quail?
Yeah, quail farm.
Why quail?
I like quail. They're
Same.
an easy bird too.
Yeah.
To farm. Yeah, they are.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the podcast, Yaniv. Thank you, Bernal. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Even though I'm not on YouTube anymore. I'm on Spotify and iTunes, and a lot of people don't know that, I guess. But
a lot of people. Oh, did you ever tell anybody about it?
I showed my Instagram, but I guess no one saw it.
Yeah.
I gotta tell people. But thank you for listening. Goodbye.